You are listening to Out of the Darkness by Clarissa Clarke. We have met a 9.5-foot tall Grevlock-Rollian and experienced a little bit of teleportation. That sets us up nicely for the core mental abilities. Chapter 9. After dinner was the standard sprint and sprinkle. For the first time ever, Alec included himself in this activity, laughing as they rushed to water flowers that matched the color he called out. "Good evening." He and Reetby seemed to be the only ones surprised by the voice in their heads. Alina and Verity actually bumped into each other in their dash toward the house. One, or both, must have given the voice directions, for the body of a Grevlock-Rollian soon appeared with them in the backyard. It was the same Grevlock-Rollian the girls had found that afternoon. Alina engulfed his legs in a hug, while Verity stood before him smiling brightly. If he was surprised by their greeting, they never knew it. He crouched in front of Alina and hugged her in return. Sending his thoughts to her, he said, "Thank you for the seed. Would you tell me the best way for it to grow?" Running to a beautiful plant with wide green leaves and tall purple flowers, she told him, "It likes to wake up with the sun, but only needs water when it gets dry." She demonstrated how to stick a finger in the soil to test if it needed to be watered. With a large smile and a flourish of his hands, he told them, "It is exactly what I am looking for. I wanted to bring something from your planet to our new home, a symbol of our friendship. Imagine my astonishment when she handed me this seed." He opened his hand, and they buzzed like bees. Alina had refused to plant that seed. They had planned the perfect spot for it, beside the others, but she simply wouldn't let it go. She told them that she was saving it for something special. Alec hadn't been present when the seeds were planted, but he knew that she carried it everywhere she went. Reetby had even sewn a special pocket for it in her pajamas. "I must admit I am intrigued by you three," he said, looking fondly at the children. "I understood that humans were a backward race, but you have all impressed me with your mental abilities." He plopped onto the grass, putting himself closer to their eye level. "You, with your enthusiasm to learn how to shield your thoughts and emotions. Impressive. Of course I shall teach you this." Verity beamed. "You, with your flight antics. Quite an amazing feat to focus yourself while so young. And you! Most young ones do not understand what they know. Will you come to see it when it has grown?" Alina nodded solemnly. Addressing Reetby, he said, "My name is Gian. I am the leader of the Grevlock-Roll race. I met with your students earlier today. I give you my compliments. You are a fine teacher to have helped them develop to such an extent." Reetby replied, "They choose how fast they progress, as do each of us in the light. I am here merely to guide." "Remarkable. So you limit your interaction with them?" "I limit my interference with them." Confusion clouded his face, so Reetby continued. "Through observation and experience, I have seen many fine teachers impart their thoughts, ideals, and beliefs on the students in their care. I do not see how this allows them to develop a true sense of self. When allowed their own experiences and choices, the children create who they are. When they know who they are truly free to believe in themselves." So true, so true. Push them into a mold and they will fight to get out. Let them shape themselves and they will grow with satisfaction. Yes, you have given me much to consider," Gian said thoughtfully. "Shall I share my knowledge with you, as you have so kindly shared with me?" he asked, coming back to them as Alina tugged on his hand. She clapped and sat in front of him. Alec and Verity followed her lead. In astonishment, the children watched as Rietby also took a seat in front of Gian, completing the semicircle. His smile welcomed them all, and to all of them he said, "I am enthused by your interest in this subject. Since we are new to each other, I will begin with a brief background of myself. I am from the planet Grevlockrol. Our conversion to the light is very recent. In the past, our society consisted of a ruling class that controlled the wealth and sustenance of the planet. One master overseer controlled a majority of the Grevlockrol race. We were made to wear control collars that caused us physical pain if we strayed, even mentally, from our tasks. I learned quickly that I could not openly defy the ruling class. I spent much time learning the techniques of how they controlled us so completely, how easily they thwarted any plots that were made to overthrow them. One night, while I lay in bed pondering this question, I was suddenly filled with anguish and frustration. I felt that my life was hopeless. While I was experiencing these thoughts and emotions, I was also surprised and confused by them. Never before had I believed that my life was hopeless, and long ago I had learned that the emotions of frustration and anguish never helped me. I was suddenly excited, for it occurred to me that these were not my thoughts. They had been planted in my mind to incite emotion. We had long been aware that the ruling class enjoyed draining negative energy from us. It was a shock, however, to discover that they had been entering our minds and placing such thoughts that would cause us to create negative emotion, and thus the negative energy that they desired. Perhaps you can imagine my anger at the abuse. Even so, knowing of the intrusion allowed me to fight it, and I resolved to never let them in my mind again. Quite simply, I said no. I closed my mind to their negativity, to all negativity. I repeated to myself several times a day, I close my mind to negativity. After that, I was able to persevere against the abuse of the ruling class because I had learned to defeat their mind entry. Verity slumped. What if it's not negativity? Her exasperation startled Gian. What if someone just knows what you're thinking? He studied her before replying. He, like Alec, had not missed the glance she shot at Rietby. There are some who work to penetrate the mind, projecting negative thoughts and suggestions. There are others who have the ability to know but do nothing to interfere. This is considered one of the core mental abilities. There are 3: feel, see, and know. Beyond that, it is possible to develop a variety of mental abilities, based mainly on the intelligence of the individual. Those of the Grevlockrol race, as do many races, consider all of these to be mental abilities, since they originate in the mind and brain. I believe humans use the term psychic abilities to cover everything I've just described, including everything you children are able to do. Curiosity caught them by the nose, and they froze. Gian turned, confused, to Rietby. Surely they know of their abilities? I am not sure that they have heard them expressed in such terms or in such detail. The girls have a basic understanding. Alec is new to us, and I am unsure of his background in this area. Alec felt his cheeks redden, and he became very interested in his shoes. Since he had been barefoot when he arrived on Zambos, shoes and clothes were provided for him. Somehow Rietby had known what he wanted, and he still found himself taking every chance he got to gaze at his tennis shoes. It is okay to know nothing of mental abilities, Gian said. I, along with the majority of my race, was unaware of their existence. They had been hidden from us much as they are hidden from your race on Earth, and for similar reasons. The masters were afraid that if we learned of our mental abilities, we would no longer be subservient. They took every step to ensure that we would remain oblivious. Those few who realized the truth were separated from the rest and sold to entities on other planets. Alec's heart skidded and skumped like a rock in the bed of a truck. Verity elbowed him. I do not normally reveal so much at once, Ripi told Jian. It has been my experience that the children do not sleep after learning information that drastically differs from what they know. He stooped lower to study the faces locked on him. I see, he said softly. However, I am impressed with a comment that our friend made. Once he understood that they were entering his mind, he was able to fight it. It has occurred to me that perhaps some knowledge of mental abilities might help you to develop them more. We have never expressly talked of how you see, feel, and know, although each of you is very strong in one of these areas. Feel, that's me. Verity bounced up and down. That's how I found you, she told a surprised Jian. When I read in the magazine about you shielding your thoughts, I learned your vibration. I searched the crowd at the landing trying to find you, and it worked. Ah, that's why you bounded up to me in the way that you did. Jian turned expectantly to Alec. I don't know, Alec said with a shrug. I don't feel vibrations like Verity, and I don't think I see or know. He shrugged again. There is time! There is time! Jian patted his knee. You are busy with other things. If Alina had been awake, perhaps they would have learned something about her mental abilities. As it was, she was using Ripi's knee as a pillow and snoring every once in a while. Jian began the process of standing up. As he did so, he leaned forward to catch Verity's attention. You block something when you keep it out, like closing a door. A shield is a form of protection that surrounds you completely, keeping you safe. Can you think of nothing that you could use to shield yourself with? For several minutes after he left, the four of them sat or slept quietly in the backyard. They carried their silence into the house as they got ready for bed. Can I see? Do I know? Can I feel? It occurred to Alec that he had never tried to feel a vibration, so perhaps he could. Pulling the covers up, he found himself wondering what Jian had said to Verity. Whatever it was, it had kept her busy. Alec could imagine her staring at the ceiling and working on her new project. It had been an interesting day. As he drifted off to sleep, he heard someone say, I completely closed my mind to negativity. You just listened to The Core Mental Abilities, Chapter 9, From Out of the Darkness by Clarissa Clarke. When we come back, we'll read Row Upon Towering Row, Chapter 10.